and welcome to this week's hashtag Tour to Tour. This week I'm joined by Spencer Fearon and Eddie Hearn. Eddie, thanks for coming in. How are you doing?
Very nervous after Frank Smith been on last week. You know,
I think he did better than you.
He says that I've got tough shoes to fill. You know, he's the boss now. I'm just sort of like semi-retired. And with this American business, my actual job title, rather embarrassingly, just because this is how they do things in America, is president, right? But what president means is you're sort of done. You know what I mean? Like, I still look at my dad as a president. So Frank's CEO now, self-called CEO, and you're president. And I'm president. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to sit in the White House and press a few switches, and Frank's going to be out doing everything.
Frank did say, like, one of your worst qualities is, like, you make a rubbish cup of tea.
That's true. I do.
No, that's a little bit. I think you need to improve your tea game.
I do.
You don't make tea in the office.
I do make tea. Of course. It's all about working as a team.
No, you're not.
I was in New York.
Let's get it right. You make the orders to make the tea.
No, you're right. Yeah, no, I was in New York last week, and I'll tell you, we've got a great team of people out there. We've got 8 employees now in our New York office. Great energy. And there's nothing quite like being in a job or a role or a business where there is energy and everybody's working for each other. And I think that sometimes when you're an employee, you've got to enjoy where you work. Otherwise, you're not going to get the best out of what you do. If you didn't like coming to work, if you didn't like what you did, you're not going to get that same passion, you're not going to get that same energy. So we try and create a good environment where everybody makes a cup of tea and not just certain people. Frank's job when he was 15 or 16 used to just be to go and get the pizzas when we were filming these poker tournaments. And he was like, Frank worked for me when he was 15. And he sent me his CV at 16. And he was really good when he worked for me. I think it was over the summer or something like that. And I said, listen, go and do your A-levels and then drop me another line. And he replied and said, I respect your opinion, but I'm getting a job, whether it's with you or not. So I was like, all right then, come on.
He told you?
Yeah, so he's been in with us nearly 10 years.
Yeah. Well, when we advertised that you were coming on Twitter, we got loads of questions coming in. Some good ones, some bad ones.
Yeah, I saw some of them. It was nice. Yeah, I wish you wouldn't do that. I get enough stick on social media. It's like, have you got any questions for Eddie? I go, don't put that. You know. So
well, we've picked the best ones, so don't worry.
Okay, good.
We'll get started because we've got lots to talk about. First of all, while you're here, can we get an update on the AJ Wilder situation? Now, you've booked Wembley for September 22nd, April 13th next year. Can you give us any more information?
Well, I think we all know that Povetkin, the mandatory, is going to be next for AJ. Wilder didn't sign in time. Whether he didn't sign in time or others were slowing things up, that's history now. I spoke to AJ yesterday, and I think what we're going to do, because we've got press conferences next week in England and New York, I think so we can put our foot forward and prove that he is ready to go. I think AJ should sign this contract, and we'll sign it as well, and we'll send it to him with that date of April the 13th. Because, Wilder says we're bluffing and he doesn't really want the fight. There's nothing better than actually to see it in writing, to say that it's done. And if you're Deontay Wilder, signing a blank contract is very difficult. It's very different to signing a contract with Anthony Joshua's signature already on it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've got to sign this and then send it back. It's like I've got to sign that, and the minute I sign that, this fight is on. So I think right now, Wilder is, very, whether he's throwing his toys out the pram or whatever, he's not happy. So I think we need to just let him get over that. But we must make sure that the destiny is in our hands, as far as I'm concerned. And what I'm so pleased about with the Wembley deal is we say, this is our future. You don't have to be a part of it. We want you to be a part of it. The world wants you to be a part of it. But all I'm concerned about is the future of Anthony Joshua. And there's nothing more. We talked about it off air. Spence said to me, do you want the fight, though? To me, I can't. One, it doesn't matter whether I want the fight.
It does, though. Do you want the fight?
I do want the fight, badly.
100%.
100%. And let me tell you why.
Go on, tell me why.
Because it's not, and you know that I do have an affiliation with a pound note, right? You know
never.
I've got that, that, just that reputation that I'm money crazy. Listen, I'm a promoter. That's part of what I do. But beyond the money, and we are beyond the money now of Anthony Joshua. Like, I don't want to sound, but the guy's done well. But what I'm saying to you is, let me finish 1 second.
Go on.
There's nothing that would make me prouder than to see Anthony become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Okay, but is it becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world at the risk of fighting Deontay Wilder, where potentially Deontay Wilder could designate a big right hand on Anthony Joshua and knock him out? Doesn't that make you a little bit nervous?
It doesn't make me nervous.
I'm
nervous for Anthony.
All right.
But he wants it more than anything in the world. I've got to be honest, mate, I'm nervous about the Povetkin fight because there's stuff beyond that.
It's dangerous.
But you talk about the world rankings, right? You've got, let's go by the ring mag, because everyone else thinks all the other the magazines, the other ranking bodies are corrupt and et cetera, et cetera. The ring mag's independent, right? No sanction fees, nothing.
Yeah.
So you've got Anthony Joshua number 1, Deontay Wilder number 2, Alexander
Povetkin number 3.
But number 3 before that was Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
So he's boxed number 3, now he's boxing number 3 again. So he's for real, Anthony Joshua, and he wants these fights. It doesn't matter if I didn't want this Wilder fight, I couldn't convince Joshua not to take this Wilder fight.
But you know, it's seemingly it's like that you have convinced him because if he asked for 50 mil, right? Now it's like you said to me, right, Spence, here's 50 mil, we have it sorted, and I'll do a little move, and I said, here's the 50 mil, right? And then you say, and then it changes, and that's the thing that's confusing to me because I know Annie, I know he's a warrior.
But also, what you have to understand, especially you knowing the game, is when I go back to their team and say we're interested in that 50 million, can we meet on Friday and can I have a contract? They say, there's no, a meeting is non-productive and we're not sending you a contract till you publicly accept that offer. Now, we can't accept that offer.
They're punky, you know.
No, of course, they are punky. But that's okay. But it's irrelevant because Anthony decided, Rob McCracken decided, and I suppose I decided, but those two are the relationship. Those two are the bosses in it, right? We want this fight in the UK.
Okay. We'll hold it there for the time and press pause on that. We'll get through. We've got lots to get through. Boxing Bright has asked, in Eddie's opinion, who will be a tougher fight for AJ? Tyson Fury with his awkward style and boxing brain, or Bronze Bomber also with an awkward style but paired with a crazy power?
I think right now, Tyson Fury. But I think if Fury gets back to where he was, and we don't know if he will or when he will, I think probably Tyson Fury. I think it would take Joshua potentially longer to break down Tyson Fury. He's very intellectual as a fighter. He's massively awkward. With Wilder, I think it needs a more disciplined performance from Anthony Joshua. I think unquestionably Wilder hits harder than Fury. Both hit hard, but I think Fury's not a massive heavyweight puncher, but he's just extremely awkward and extremely big. Wilder's going to get hit by Joshua, but he carries... So in answer to your question, the more dangerous fight for Joshua is Deontay Wilder, but potentially, if he ever got back to where he was, the tougher fight could be...
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting one. Anwar has asked, if White knocks out Joseph Parker, can we get Wilder v White in November and the winner faces AJ in April in Wembley?
He's had that opportunity many times.
It's never going to happen.
You know, he's had 5 million. I mean, now we talk about the money for the offers and stuff like that. So 5 million was the offer to fight Dillian White. So 4 million plus USD is about $5 million. And he's earning 2, 2.5, 3 max. So we've tried for that fight time and time again. Then they said to us, we'll do it, but it's got to include the Joshua fight. So I said, okay, let's talk about that. And then they didn't want the Dillian White fight. I don't blame them. Like, why would you fight White for 5 when you could get Joshua for 15? You know? So I expect Wilder to fight Brazil or even an Ortiz in a rematch. I wouldn't rule that out, because I think they have no choice but to try and put him on pay-per-view in America now, because you can't go back to your client, Deontay Wilder, and say, right, we just had an offer of 15 million, you're now going to get 2 to fight Dominic Brazil. That, like, Shirley Winkle wouldn't leave the room alive, you know? So I think they might have to try a new model in the States now. It'll bomb because he's not a pay-per-view fight yet. Particularly, Joshua's not a pay-per-view fighter in America. Together they are. But Joshua against Wilder, Wilder against Ortiz, or Wilder against Brazil is not. So I'm not sure what Wilder's next move is, but I would be 100% sure it won't be Dillian White, because I think people are a little bit scared of Dillian White, you know?
No.
Like,
and what's the reason? Why do you think they're scared?
Because he's got that something, I mean, it's a little bit crazy. Yeah, but I just feel like he's a winner, you know? And I just feel like he's a bad geezer, you know. Like,
are you scared of him a little bit?
If he put it on me, like, I would need new pants. I mean, it's absolutely unquestionably. And there's been a few times where, like, I've had to say to Dillian, listen, you know, and he sort of looked at me as if to say, "Oh, you little." Like silver spoon, whatever. I'm going to smash you everywhere. But
Dylan, smash him to bits.
Yeah, he probably will. At some point in his career, he probably will give me a club. But it was like, it's like when Chisora threw the table at him.
Well, I was trying to calm
Chisora down, and he sort of stepped to me, And I just remember he was about that far away from me, sort of screaming at me. And I had one security there and one security there. And all I could think of is,
I'm going to set the security.
Please don't hit me. Please don't hit me, because I won't make the show at the weekend. So, but I just think with Dillian, if I was a fighter, I would look at Dillian White and go, "You're horrible. You're horrible," because I know I'm going to have to do an ultimate job on you to end this. You know? Do you get that feeling?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, most definitely.
Moving on to this weekend, Rocky Fielding.
Yeah, big chance, big chance. I'm so pleased for Rocky to get his chance. We thought we had the Ramirez fight. He agreed the deal. Now he gets the Zoiga opportunity. I kind of feel like Rocky's done everything that's been asked of him. The Callum Smith defeat was a tough pill to swallow, particularly being a local derby. But he's bounced back from there. Very close fight with John Ryder that could have gone either way. A good win against Rebrasse. You know, a great win against David Brophy in one round. So I think it's his time. And I think sometimes life's just about momentum. And when you look at Jamie Moore's camp right now, you can be involved in a camp and a training team where everyone sort of bounces off each other. And you've got that momentum, right? So I feel like Tommy Coyle benefited from that, you know, from the Carl Frampton success and just seeing other people join Jamie Moore. And I think, so you had like Rocky Fielding against Brophy. That was the momentum of a Jamie Moore camp. Then Carl Frampton's there. Then Tommy Coyle got a really good win. And I just feel like that camp right now...
Energy goes where it flows.
Yeah, and I just feel like this is probably the best chance he'll get, you know, to win a world title. And I think it's a tough fight. I do think Zoiga is underrated. And I think he's a sharp puncher. I saw him fight Paul Smith. Paul Smith was at the end, but Rocky... You know, Rocky's advantages are he can punch his punching power is underrated. He has very, very long arms. He can box on the inside and throw unorthodox shots, but he has to let his hands go in this fight. So many fighters take the trip abroad, and you just feel at the end of the fight, it's like,
you could have done a little bit more.
Does he need the knockout?
No, he doesn't.
I think that things have changed in Germany. I mean, everywhere in that.
I know, because it's happening here.
It's like, you just think, the judges have probably got this, you know, perception now that people have scored in favour of German fighters. So there might be like a reverse thing that's going on. I have to just say, with scoring worldwide, I mean, we've seen some awful scoring recently, particularly in the UK. Now, who was the fight recently? Was it Flanagan and Hooker? Where one guy's like seven rounds to Flanagan, one guy's 7 rounds to Hooker. How can you do that? I understand a round, a 2-round, 115, 113, it's a draw either way, but you can't have the swing of 6, 7 round or 14 round swing, you know? So I just think that a lot of these times it's poor officiating. It's not corrupt, it's not dodgy, it's just poor judging. But it's very concerning when the careers of a fighter can be put in the hands of an inept judge. And I hope that, you know, this time around in Germany, it's not going to be a ferocious atmosphere. Might be ferocious from the Scousers. I think Rocky's got about 300 or 400 down over there. But it's not going to be like, you know, an Arthur Abraham fight or a Sturm fight. Zoiga hasn't got that fan base yet. So I think Rocky will get a fair crack of the week. I think he can win by stoppage. He can really punch, Rocky. And I've just got this feeling, like Spence said, that, what was it, energy goes where energy flows. I like that, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, use it.
And I think that might be the right time for Jamie Moore and those boys, yeah.
Well, we shall see this weekend, not long to wait now. Moving on, Itaz has asked, what's next for Tony Bellew after the brilliant night, May 5th? When's he going to be out next?
I don't know. I mean, if he is out next, I mean, look, Tony Bellew is probably, the Tony Bellew project is probably the proudest thing and the thing that makes me smile that I've ever done in the sport of boxing.
For real?
Yeah, because it's come from nowhere. You know, you can work with a fighter. It's a bit like AJ. You know, this guy's come out the Olympics. He's won the Olympic gold medal. He's like the chosen one of boxing in the UK, of sport
special.
in the UK.
He's
yeah.
born special.
Then you got like Tony Bellew, who when we took him on, you know, was just challenging for the European title, I think. He got mandatory, fought Chilemba in that first fight, which is an absolute stinker. Right, no one really
Edison
wanted to...
Miranda was the first fight.
That was the first fight, Alexander Palace. And from there, he boxed Chilemba. Chilemba was a stinker, the first fight. And he come back, he rematched him at the O2, much better performance, got the win. Then he goes out and fights Adonis Stevenson, okay? I mean, how he used to make 12 stone 7 is beyond me. But he did. He was a shell at 12 stone 7. He got stopped against Stevenson. It was like, I felt like I'd given him that world title shot, given him the payday, and, you know, I don't know where we go from here, really. Then he decides to move up to cruiserweight. I remember saying to him in the change room after that Stevenson fight, mate, you've got to move up. Everyone used to tell me, I don't know, you were around then in the game, He was an unbelievable puncher in the amateurs at
ridiculous.
cruiserweight and
No,
heavyweight. He used
ridiculous.
to clean people out in the amateurs, which was unheard of, at that stage. So I said to him, move up to cruiser. Went up to cruiser, had a couple of good wins. Then we make the Cleverly fight, okay, on pay-per-view, which was like, and when people talk about pay-per-view, understand that the pay-per-view money goes to the fighters, not to me, right? So when you talk about Dillian Wyatt, this kid...
Is that true?
That's true.
I'm not asking nobody. I'm not asking questions in there. I'm just saying.
I do take a little bit, but most of it goes to the fight. So, but this is what I'm talking about with like Dillian Wyatt. This guy deserves this opportunity. You were saying before we went on, he's given everything to the sport of boxing. He's putting it on the line in the heavyweight division. So going back to Tony, which was the original question, the Cleverly fight was great. He got his pay-per-view night. It was one of the worst fights I've ever seen, right? And I'm
good
just
undercard,
thinking,
though.
It was a great undercard.
Great undercard.
Great value for the night.
Great undercard.
Who would you like to see him face next?
I'm just getting to the
Andre
soft
Ward.
stuff. You know what I mean? I know we're tight on
We
time.
need to
here.
wrap it up,
Let me give you this some drama, right? So anyway, cut long story short, he fights for the world title, Makabu. I get the call. He wanted a world title so bad, I couldn't deliver it. I got a call in a Chinese restaurant one night to say, Groizod, who was a WBC champion, is out. He's been stripped. It's Makabu against Bellew. This was Maurizio Sullivan, if you want it.
Brilliant.
I didn't even know about Makabu. I phoned him up, Tony. I said, I've got it. I've got the shot. He went, who is it? I went, Makabu. He went, oh, no. Like 19 wins, 19 knockouts, whatever it is. Goodison Park, one of the greatest nights of my life in winning there. But still, the money weren't really flowing in that I would have liked to. Then the Hay fight popped up. Then he wins that. Then he wins it again. So what he's achieved is phenomenal. Like, he can live a life that even I dreamed he'd live, but certainly he dreamed of living. Last weekend he got married. It was beautiful. He's so happy. He's got 3 fantastic sons. He's got a lovely wife. He's got enough money to take care of him, his generations after that, and that's what makes me happier than anything. Getting back to what's next for Tony Bellew, possible retirement. I think there's 3 fights. Tyson Fury, which isn't coming anytime soon. Andre Ward. And the other one who wants it is Adonis Stevenson, up at cruiserweight. So there are 3 fights, 3 options for him. He likes the idea of the Stevenson fight because he wants to do a job on him and get the return win. I think at cruiserweight he's a favourite in that fight. The Ward fight at cruiserweight I love because I just think Tony's size can make up for the definite not mismatch of skill, but Ward is a genius, right? And the Fury fight I love because I think he can win that fight. So, but I say there's no rush, and I keep saying to him, go on your honeymoon and then we'll talk later. But any fighter wants to know while they're living their life, am I still a fighter? Do I have to just still tick over? Do I have to
Is he keen to get back into the ring?
He feels as though he's improving, but he feels as though he's achieved everything he could possibly achieve in the game. So what's the reason for coming back? Money? No. To prove a point? Possibly. To challenge yourself? Possibly. So if he phoned me up tomorrow and said, Ed, I'm done, I'll be the happiest man alive. But it's so tempting because I feel like he's improving.
There's fights there for him.
I know. So if you're improving, how do you quit as a sportsman if you still feel like you can go on and create a legacy? If you're declining, if you're picking up injuries in camp, if your times are getting a little bit slow, if you're getting hurt in sparring, then it's very easy to go, you know what, I'm done, thank you very much. But we'll see. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded, wasn't it?
No, we got there in the end.
That could be its own clip, 20 minutes. Is that how long this show is?
One more tweet left. Nick Lineker has asked, if you could have promoted any fighter in the history of boxing, who would it have been? You were chatting about this.
Well,
before
yeah, me and Spencer were debating this off camera. My hero is Sugar Ray Leonard.
I never ever knew that,
Yeah, so
and that's kind of gutting because that's one of mine.
Yeah.
I didn't want to share the same thing. I'll just get rid of him. He's Roberto Duran.
Both got great style.
Yeah, you stole your style from me.
Yeah. So I think probably Leonard. I mean, look, when you talk about promoting a fighter, obviously the likes of Ali and who you thought I was going to pick, but I would like to have been involved with Mike Tyson because I just think he was so exciting. And there's something also about representing fighters that, like, Tyson was a tough guy to promote. Not in the sense of he was just huge and sold out arenas, but away from the ring.
He could switch on you and just
exactly,
beat up in a hotel room.
Or he could just run away from training camp and like I've got plenty of stories of that to come from in my book, which will be coming soon in 14 years' time. But yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard is my hero. I mean, there's another question that you ain't got time for, which who is your favourite fighter to watch right now? You know, and
I can answer that one.
Yeah, you know, because I told you. But there are fighters that just make you so excited. And right now is Lewis Ritson, because I just love, like, this kid walks out into arena and he's just thinking, you know, 12 months ago he was boxing on ticket deals in leisure centres in Newcastle, and he's just walking out and he's totally fearless. And I don't know whether he can do that through the levels. Maybe he gets found out at European
I
level.
believe that he can.
Yeah, but if he does, I mean, we have someone that is just so exciting to watch, so fearless. So, you know, sometimes a fighter sort of when he starts to understand the game and the risks and what's on the horizon, sometimes they can just become a little bit smarter.
And reserved.
Yeah, and I think actually the Joshua performance against Parker was a bit like that. You know, I'm going to technically outclass this guy. Whereas the old Anthony Joshua was just like sometimes chin up in the air, and that's Lewis Ritson. So if he can keep that rawness and be that exciting, he can certainly do it through European level. You know, he's great to watch. But Sugar Ray Leonard, my all-time favourite. And when you watch like the Duran film and you talk about the job that Duran did on Leonard in the first fight at the press conference, talking about his wife and you know, and then Leonard coming back and holding his nerve in the second fight. For the no mass fight, you know, I think Leonard would be a guy I would have loved to work with.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We will leave it there. Have a great time on your stag do. Not your stag do.
Not my stag do. Croatia. So part of me, like, if England didn't win tonight, like, might be a safer weekend. But fingers crossed, England get the win. And,
it's coming home, son.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
Okay, tune in next week for more hashtag Toe to Toe, or check out iTunes for the podcast.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.